Hey Sarah, what you did to our house? Why don't you come and find out yourself, mom? Please, leave my sister alone. If we can't help her, she will go homeless. Oh, but I'm sorry, mom. I think that's what's going to happen now. This was the last reply I got from my daughter. So, guys, please tell me, am I the bad girl for yelling at my daughter to help my sister? My sister lost her job and could not afford to pay rent. So I offered her and her kids two places to stay in our small two-bedroom house. However, my daughter was not very happy about it and she had to sleep on the couch. I assured her it was only temporary, but it has been 3 months now. I still support my sister who recently got a job offer but had no means of transportation. I suggested to my daughter that we trade her two-seater for a bigger car to help my sister and her kids. But she refused. Even after I offered to buy back her car once my sister moved out. Our argument escalated and I lost my patience with her. I told her to remove everything from her room so that my sister and her kids could use it. She asked me what I meant everything, so I told her to take out all her belongings. However, this was my mistake and she took it to mean everything in the room. A few days later, my sister texted me to ask if my daughter was renovating her room because there were men in high waist in the house. I was so confused and upon coming home discovered that my daughter had emptied her entire room, including tearing out the furniture, light fixtures, and even her ensuite bathroom. I was furious as I had only meant for her to remove her belongings and not get the entire room. I screamed at her, reminding her that my sister and her kids had no place to sleep. However, my daughter acted innocent and kept repeating that I had told her to remove everything. She left after that, taking her car with her, leaving us alone without transportation. She has not talked to any of us since and ignored all our calls. I want to talk it out with her and make her understand how inappropriate her actions were. Am I the bad girl for doing this, guys? OP, let's recap. Daughter agrees to sleep on sofa for a few weeks, but it's been months. Daughter is having to share limited space with new occupants. Daughter was asked to upgrade car with no mention of financial assistance. Daughter was asked to clean out space. Seems to be a lot of sacrificing on your daughter's part with no consideration to her feelings. You agreed to take in your sister and her family. Your daughter didn't. She should not be forced to upend her life simply because you demand it. You asked her to clean out her room, she did, and she gave you the space you needed. You seem more upset you lost the utility your daughter provided than losing your relationship with her. I hope she takes all the space she needs to live her own life. She deserves that. Clean your crap up, OP. Oh my god, you're a simply horrible mother. You kick your daughter out of her room that she spent money renovating. Expect her to sell her car that is fine for her needs to drive your sister around? She is not responsible for your sister and her kids. Your daughter didn't destroy the relationship, you did. And the fact you're arguing with people about your actions is disgusting. Sounds like your daughter is going to be much happier wherever she ends up without you and your sister in her life. Her actions of getting your room and bathroom were not from spite. She paid for it all, so she took it all. You and your sister don't get to take advantage of the things she paid for, all the while kicking her out. For the next story, am I the bad girl for not taking my 20-year-old daughter to the hospital for drinking because she did it to herself? A little background here, I am 58 female and my daughter has been drinking daily to almost daily since she was 18. Though I did introduce it to her at 16, she pays the rent since she has a significant bigger income than I. So I supply the alcohol and cigarettes. She pays for them, of course. I blame most of it on her job because it's probably a common thing with restaurant work, which she's been working at for 2 years and has been through a lot of traumatic events. She had witnessed a lot of horrible things. Even before that she was drinking though, so sometimes I don't know where it comes from and she's got a high tolerance. Occasionally she tries to take a break from alcohol and cigarettes but it never sticks. I always tell her to just smoke pot, but no matter what alcohol takes overall. I don't understand her fascination with booze. Her father has an issue with alcohol as well and other vices. And she has not even raised by him and has not seen him since she was 4. Since she watched him get arrested, one night she came home from work at 10:30 pm. She was in a bad mood and tired. She didn't know it, but I unblocked my ex-boyfriend on and off for 11 years after I broke up his current girlfriend and him, and he came back to me. My daughter hates this guy. However, instead of lying, I told my daughter straight up, I'm gonna sleep with this guy. She was furious and told me he is just going to cheat on me again and that he doesn't actually care about me. And I know he does not, but I don't either. And my reasoning for getting back with him is because I got rejected recently and he is all I have. So then, when I left and came home at 3 am, she was intoxicated and sick and raging at me. And then at herself, she then began crying and apologizing over and over. She stopped drinking, but then a day or two in, she was shaking and throwing up non-stop. She asked if it would be okay if she went to the hospital. I said no, because this is what she gets. She should be embarrassed and ashamed of herself. She is not an alcoholic, but I think she needs to only drink when she is happy. Then we will not have this issue. And I don't want anything addict related in her record. It's not a good look and it's embarrassing. She does not belong here. Addicts or monsters, what do they think they are? They are entitled and selfish people. Her father being one of them. It's been a day since this happened and obviously nothing happened to her that warrants a hospital visit. I let her have a few drinks, but now she regrets accepting the drinks. She would have ended up drinking again anyway. OP, you are the bad girl. I don't even know where to begin. Honestly, if you can't type this whole post out, read it back to you to yourself, and still not see that you are the problem, I don't think any comment will ever be able to convince you. But your own admission, you intentionally introduced your 16-year-old daughter to alcohol, knowing has a genetic disposition to addiction via her father. You forced your daughter to work an awful job where she has been traumatized by making yourself financially dependent on her. You have continued to purchase alcohol for her, refused to take your own child to the hospital when she may have had alcohol poisoning or dehydration from the massive amounts of alcohol that she drinks to cope with her crappy life that you have carved out for her as the host to your parasite. And please get this poor girl some help and get as far away from her as possible forever. You were the bad girl. Let's recap some things. You have introduced your underage daughter to liquor so hard that she was an outright alcoholic by 18. You have since been supplying your daughter with liquor. To say that you are a disaster of your mother is an understatement. You have then not allowed your poisoned daughter to get poisoning arrest in the hospital but you have gall to be moralizing about a did to herself part. Yes, you are a major bad girl, and if your daughter is to have a chance in life, she needs to make sure you are out of it. For the next story, will I be the bad guy for writing bad online reviews about my escort daughter to get her out of the business? I, 60 male, just found out my daughter, 26 female, is working as an escort. We became suspicious that her getting expensive beauty treatments, hair extensions, professional lash extensions, always has acrylic nails, etc. And this is not things one would likely to be able to afford on the job. She told us she had social worker, my wife, 58 female, and I went looking on the internet to where escorts post and found her photos as advertisements. We are devastated and desperate to get her out of his destructive life cycle. We have offered her to come home and move with us. I told her she has no choice because what she is doing is illegal where in our country. She said no and has blocked our phones and emails, etc. I also found online reviews her clients posted of her. Since she will not listen to reason, we had this idea for writing bad reviews about her online, hoping it will discourage clients from booking with her. And without her cash flow coming in, she will have no choice but to leave. We are desperate and don't know what else to do short of turning her in, which we don't want to do but will only as an absolute last effort. We can't book an appointment posing as a client because she screens them via work info or references from other known prostitutes. Her mother has a weak heart, and on top of worrying about my daughter, I have to worry about my wife having a heart attack from the stress of this. Will I be the bad guy for trying to do this, guys? If it does make me the bad guy, how else do you suggest I get her out? Please help me in this situation. Opie, you will be the bad guy, and also you could put her in danger by doing this. If she loses clients, she may be forced to work on the street or take clients that are not as safe. I would not recommend doing this under any circumstances. You will be the bad guy. I understand her lifestyle is not the best choice and you are just trying to protect her, but she chose her life. Destroying her career would not help. It would make things worse for her. At least she is an escort and not on the streets. Trying to force her to do what you want won't help either. That will push her away, whereas you can already tell. You will be the bad guy, but I want to know how Whoopi found out his daughter was a yes-thing worker in the first place. I had been much more concerned about that if I were his wife, they need to leave their adult daughter alone and maybe get some marriage counseling about why Whoopi was looking for an escort at all. I am not buying this story about how they are concerned about her expensive lifestyle and then jumped from that directly to yes-thing work. I think there's a lot of info missing here.